So, you're moving to the Space Coast. Maybe you have a job opportunity, or you're just sick of the cold and need a change. And you're not sure exactly where you would like to live. Well, today I'm going to be discussing Merritt Island, the boater capital of the Space Coast, and going over what it's like to live here, along with its pros and cons. Merritt Island is located in Brevard County and is an hour and 15 minutes east of Orlando. It is located on the Barrier Island, right here in between the Banana River and the Indian River. It's also only a 10 to 15 minute drive to the closest beaches in Cape Canaveral and Cocoa Beach. Whether you love nature, always dreamed of taking your boat right out of your backyard, looking for the perfect place to retire and enjoy some rocket launches, or looking for a place to raise your family, Merritt Island has so much to offer. All right, without further ado, I am going to go over the 5 pros and cons of living in Merritt Island. The first pro on my list is the accessibility to the water, which gives Merritt Island its nickname as the boater capital of the county. As I mentioned before, Merritt Island is located in between the Banana and Indian Rivers, so there is plenty of opportunity to live along the river or on a canal that leads out to the intercoastal that connects to the Atlantic Ocean. There are also condos on the river as well that have docks. So if you are a boater, an avid kayaker, or maybe you love to paddleboard, there is plenty of opportunity for that, whether it's from your own backyard or if you don't live on the river or a canal, then there are also many boat ramps and access points to the river in Merritt Island. One thing that's important to know and to look out for is that there is a handful of non-navigational canals, and there are also some canals that connect to Sykes Creek right here, which connects to the river, but the bridge clearance in some areas restrict what type of boat can pass through. So when I am working with clients that are boaters, I start with asking what type of boat they have and the height of the boat, and then we can eliminate some areas based off the type of boat they have and its height. Another really cool thing about living here is from May through November, you will have the opportunity to see bioluminescence in the water, which is always really cool. You can hop on a kayak or a boat at night when the conditions are good to see the water glow up. It's really beautiful. Also, if you live on the river or canal, when dolphins swim by, you can see the bioluminescence light up at night, and it's really beautiful as well. The first con on our list, we are going to just nip this one in the butt, is hurricanes. I get calls all the time from people thinking about moving here, and this is one of the top concerns along with flooding. Hurricane season runs from June to November. Historically, the Space Coast hasn't been hit as hard as other areas, and we usually are downgraded to a tropical storm by the time we get hit. However, because Merritt Island is considered a part of the Barrier Island, anytime there is an incoming named hurricane and there is an evacuation order, you are supposed to shelter inland. Many people stay if it's a low category storm, but just know you stay at your own risk and the emergency rescue will not come and help until the storm passes. Another common concern is with flooding. Surprisingly, a lot of our beach communities in the county are not considered in a flood zone that requires flood insurance if you have a mortgage. And the same goes for Merritt Island. There are sections of communities that are in a flood zone, but for the most part, Merritt Island is in flood zone X, which means mortgages do not require flood insurance for flood zone X. Depending on the elevation of the land will depend upon how much the flood insurance will cost you. Moving on to pro number 2 on our list is that Merritt Island is home to the Kennedy Space Center. Many people who live here are employed by either the Kennedy Space Center, SpaceX, Blue Origin, the Space Force, or any of the other contracting companies working in the space industry in Merritt Island. It is a great spot to live if you have a job offer from the government or one of those contracting agencies. Also, it's really fun being able to see the rocket launches from essentially anywhere you are in Merritt Island. We like to watch the launches from our backyard, and it's always really cool to watch. Most recently, a 3D printed rocket was launched by a company called Relativity Space, and although it didn't make it into orbit, we watched it go up, and it was really cool watching history be made. I get calls all the time from people who want to move here specifically because they just want to watch rocket launches and they love the history of space exploration. The Kennedy Space Center also has a visitor center where you can learn about NASA's history in the area and history of rockets. It's definitely a place you must visit next time you are visiting. Con number 2 on our list is that Merritt Island is an older area. Merritt Island was mostly built up in the 1960s. A lot of the infrastructure is a little older and not necessarily clean cut, aesthetically beautiful everywhere. This is actually one of the reasons why I chose to live here. I liked that not everything looked the same. There is definitely an older, eclectic beach town vibe to Merritt Island that I personally love. But also I can appreciate a brand new city. It's really a preference. And with that said, not all Merritt Island is older. There are newer areas and homes being built as of this year. The third pro on our list, and one of the reasons why I love living in Merritt Island, is its location and accessibility. Now, Merritt Island is actually the longest area in the county, and the reason why I say area is because Merritt Island is not technically a city. It's an area within Brevard County jurisdiction, but we do have our own zip codes, and sometimes I call it a city, so just know it's not technically a city. Now, Merritt Island is long. The most northern part is the Merritt Island National Wildlife Refuge and where NASA and Kennedy Space Center is, where they launch the rockets. And then it goes all the way south to what is called Dragon Point. The majority of the population lives in or close to central Merritt Island right here. The two main interstates that run through Merritt Island are 528 and 520. If you go east on 528 from Merritt Island, it's about a 10-minute drive to Port Canaveral, where there are a few waterfront restaurants. You can watch or hop on a cruise from the world's busiest cruise port or head into Cape Canaveral and relax on the beach. If you go west on 528, you'll end up in Orlando. And it's a quick, easy, straight shot to the airport and the city, which I love. 520 is the interstate used for most living in South Merritt Island, and going east will bring you to Cocoa Beach, and going west will connect you to Cocoa, and one of my favorite areas in the county, Cocoa Village. 520 in Merritt Island has a Walmart, a mall, many restaurants, Chick-fil-A, and a couple of grocery stores. There is another area with many restaurants and stores, a Target, gyms, and a bowling alley called South Courtney, and where it is in the middle of Merritt Island, where most of those amenities are located. I live in South Merritt Island, so I love how easy and fast it is to get to the beach. It's only a 10-minute drive on 520 for me. It's easy to get all my shopping done, and then we like to go hang out in Cocoa Village, where there's a ton of small shops, restaurants, and bars, historical charm, and they host a ton of fun events there. Moving on to the third con, but real quick, I'm Rachel Langley, a licensed real estate agent here in the Space Coast. And if this is your first time to the channel, we talk all things living in the Space Coast and Merritt Island and what it's like to live here. So make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit that little bell so you can be notified every time we drop a new video. And if you are interested in moving here, whatever your real estate needs are, please reach out. You can call, email, or text us, AM or PM, weekday or weekend. We got your back when it comes to moving to the Space Coast. All right, the third con on our list is the shopping. Like I just mentioned, Merritt Island has all the shopping options you need, but there are definitely other parts of the county with better shopping options. Back in the day, the local mall in town called the Merritt Square Mall was always a top shopping destination in Brevard County. Well, thanks to the invention of Amazon and indoor malls just losing popularity over the years, the mall has lost its shine. The best place to go for shopping is in Viera, where the avenues are. And it's an open air mall that offers an array of shopping options from the big national retailers such as Sephora, Kohl's, to local shops, coffee shops, and restaurants. With that said, Merritt Island still has everything you need from a big box store, Office Depot, Publix, and an Aldi's. One of my favorite restaurants is in the Merritt Square Mall called Margarita Island. They have awesome, really good Mexican food and delicious margaritas. The mall also has a Macy's, JCPenney's, Dillard's, along with some local shops inside. Also, Vieira is only 25 minutes away, so I go there all the time. Moving on to pro number 4, Merritt Island has a ton of public parks scattered throughout. As you'll see, all the red pins on the map are all the different parks throughout Merritt Island. You can go kayaking and paddleboarding at Kiwanis Park, Manatee Cove Park, Kelly Park, and Pine Island Conservation Area. Boats can be launched at Kiwanis Island and Kelly Park. There are baseball, softball, tennis, football, pickleball, and racquetball at Mitchell Ellington Park, tennis, racquetball, and softball at Kiwanis Island, and you can also reserve pavilions for family or larger gatherings at most parks in Merritt Island. You will find wildlife preserve and hiking trails at Ulame Park, Pine Island, Rotary Park, Manatee Cove Park, and the Merritt Island Wildlife Preserve. All right, con number 4. Living in Florida, there are a lot of critters, and bugs out there. We've got snakes, gators, lizards, but the most annoying little things are the no-see-ums. As long as you keep your grass cut, you shouldn't run into snakes. If you hire a pest control company, you shouldn't run into cockroaches, which are called palmetto bugs here, but they're cockroaches. And for gators, just stay away from the ponds and lakes. Never go swimming in those. People go swimming in the rivers here, but I will never. There are gators in the rivers too. The lizards, which are geckos and annelies, they won't bother you. But the no-see-ums are a pain in the butt. They come around mostly in the summertime, and they are these little tiny mosquitoes. You can barely see them, and they love to bite. I have always been someone whom mosquitoes love, but the no-see-ums, they love everyone. They don't discriminate. So you just gotta make sure you stock up on tons of bug spray for the summer. You might even need to get a variety because I swear, they kind of get used to your bug spray and you gotta try something else. You may want to look for a home that has an enclosed pool or porch, which also comes in a lot of handy, especially in the summertime, so those little annoying no-see-ums don't get in and bite you. The last pro on our list is there is a variety of housing options to choose from when you are thinking of moving to Merritt Island. There are many homes built in the 1960s or 1970s that are both waterfront or on dry lots that are near shopping, restaurants, and the water. There are also newer homes in both gated communities and non-gated communities. There are large, luxury riverfront homes throughout the county. They are beautiful, and there are condo buildings with gorgeous river views. There are so many options to choose from in Merritt Island. When we moved here, we came from a northeast town on the ocean. I didn't want to give up living close to the beach. We found that Merritt Island, although being so close to the beach, was more affordable than living in any of the cities that are beachside. So while you're looking in Brevard County, Merritt Island can have higher prices than other areas inland. It is more affordable than areas that are beachside. Last but not least, the last con on our list today is insurance, which can be expensive in Merritt Island. A majority of the homes sold in Merritt Island are over 30 years old. When you purchase a home during your inspection period, you'll hire an inspector to do a 4-point inspection, which is mandatory to obtain insurance coverage. If the roof has less than 5 years left, there is cast iron piping, or an issue with the electrical system, your insurance will either be expensive or you won't be able to obtain coverage until the issues have been resolved. Therefore, these are really important things to look out for when you start home shopping. With all this said, I hope this helped you get an understanding of Merritt Island a little bit more. It's an awesome place to live for so many different types of people. Even with all the negatives, I love living here. And I'm very happy with our choice to call Merritt Island home. To me, the beaches, the rivers, the sunshine, and all the great weather completely outweighs any of the negatives I discussed today. If you don't feel like Merritt Island is the right spot, but you are still moving to the area, I'm happy to help you figure out which town or city may work better for you. Make sure to comment below any questions you may have about living in Merritt Island. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Rachel Langley with Florida Lifestyle Realty, and I'll see you on the next one.